Hello, friends. This week's Brain Food is about how you deal with problems in your business. And that could be clients, employees, and I think the right answer probably affects your personal life as well. I'd like to introduce you to my rule of 50-50 when it comes to dealing with problems. And I'm going to talk about a specific client story that I've had and how I dealt with that problem, and talk about some personal ones as well. But at a high level, the simple concept of a 50-50 rule is it takes two people to fight. It takes two people to cause a situation most of the time. And so the 50-50 rule is, how can we deal with this situation that's happened where both parties take some ownership of the problem? Both people, both parties need to have some skin in the game. So for the first example, I'll talk about one of my client situations that's happened, and I have so many of these kinds of stories. Let me know if you'd like to hear more stories in a future video. But this specific one was a website client project. And I did the typical thing where I sat down with them in a couple of different meetings and talked about, okay, the future for their website and what they were trying to accomplish. And we talked through features and functionality and all the problems that they were having with their current hosting client or hosting provider and all those things. And so I dug pretty deep during the sales call. And we went ahead and moved forward with that project together. And we get ready to launch the new website after about a month of working together, and something big breaks. I get an email from the client that says, hey, do you know when our employee portal is going to start working on the new website? My response was, employee portal? What are you talking about? So on the previous site that they had been using, they had an employee portal login that nobody had mentioned anything about, that was not visible from the public website, that did not come up in any of our conversations, and it just didn't get brought over. So that was kind of a problem. And at that moment, that's when my 50-50 rule kicked in. And this client, like all my clients, are friends. They're friends of mine. This client I'm specifically thinking about's name is Stacy, so we'll use her name. Stacy and I was talking to Stacy about, look, here's what I think we need to do. I have a resource that can repurpose that employee portal that was not working on the current site hosting platform that you were using into the new website hosting that you're using, and it's going to be about $3,000. And they're like, sure, we got to do it. It makes sense. It'll be stable. We're going to do that. And some of you might look at me funny when I say this next part, but here's the deal. Hang with me on this, and it'll make sense longer term. In that moment when I was talking to Stacy about this problem, knowing that they had to come up with an additional $3,000 for budget on top of what they'd already agreed to pay me for the website project, I'm thinking, this just doesn't feel right. It feels like they're taking the whole bag. I mean, sure, I have some responsibility here. Could I have asked additional questions up front to find out that there was this additional functionality on their website? Yeah, I think the answer is yes to that. And so I felt some responsibility, even though ultimately I think the responsibility was a little bit more on my client in this situation than on me, but I was trying to follow my 50-50 rule. So I went back to the client. We went ahead and got that project moved over. The employee portal got moved over. My good friend Jeff Potts took care of that. And he got that moved over for $3,000. And what I did is I split the difference with my client. That's the 50-50 rule. And you might be thinking, you did not need to take that money off the table, Jason. But here's what happened. Because we are friends, they know in that interaction that I have their best interests at heart, always. I didn't have to do that. They even said those words to me. You don't have to do this. And I said to them, it feels right. It's the right answer. This is something we both missed, and I feel like we both need to deal with the problem together. And years later, they are still a customer. They're still good friends. They know I have their best interests at heart. They reach out to me whenever they need help with something related to their website and other things, because they know I'm an honest, trustworthy person. And that was a small price to pay to fix that problem and have that further relationship, strengthening of that relationship. And you can apply that idea towards anything, like your employees. If you have a problem with an employee, there's usually two people that have made that problem, or two situations that have made that problem. Promises were made that weren't followed through on. Situations developed that weren't trained for. And so there are 50-50 situations in all things. And I think it's interesting. It also applies to your personal life. So my wife and I, Trista and I, use this 50-50 rule when we're having any kind of conflict. And at the end of those conversations where we're kind of disagreeing on something, it's like, okay, this is a 50-50 problem. No matter who thinks that they're more in the right than the other, because that's where we all get into hot water. We always agree that it's a 50-50 problem. And you know what's funny about that is when you say that, when you're talking to someone that you're disagreeing with, and you're saying, I'm equally as responsible for this situation as you are, let's figure out how to work as a team and solve this problem together. The 50-50 rule has made my professional career significantly better because it's diffused many situations, not only in business, but with my wife. So that's the 50-50 rule, and that's my recommendation for trying a new way, if you're not already doing that, of dealing with problems in your business. Try to take a look at what's going on and ask yourself the question, what are the two parties at play here? Is it two people, two companies? And how can those companies share skin in the game for solving the problem that has come up? And you might be really shocked to find out what that answer is for you and where that leads you, and how it might strengthen relationships moving forward because of how you handled the problem. Thanks for tuning in to this week's Brain Food. I hope the 50-50 rule is a new idea for you that you can actually use in your business and in your personal life to deal with problems as they come up. Let me know in the comments if you got some value out of this, and if you haven't already liked and subscribed on the channel, I'm trying to grow my YouTube channel followers. So please consider subscribing by clicking the subscribe button below and the bell next to it if you want to be notified anytime I put new content out. Thanks. Have a great day.